I want to talk to you about my friend Charlie Crawford. He's a 10-time NFR qualifier.
Charlie Crawford, time to just shake it out and win. Got it on him fast, set
there
up.
We are.
Here's a day
nice
money
run.
lead. You betcha 3-8.
That's an absolute perfect run. Timing was perfect from the time the first swing is up. He's got the control. Charlie made it happen by being timed up with his horse with the steer, and being able to not just rope, but to pick that steer's head up without changing the momentum for the heeler at all.
We know his beautiful wife, Jackie, all three of their beautiful children, the founder of the Liberty and Loyalty Foundation, which this year will exceed $1 million raised for military and first responders. I've said it 1,000 times. Charlie, it's time to rope, nod and ride, whip and spur. I want to welcome you to the Charlie Crawford Podcast. Let's ride.
All right, we're on. Rodey and Brooke, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you
That's
very
awesome.
much.
You guys are as hard to get on a podcast as my wife is.
We've been busy this week,
Love
haven't
it,
we?
though. It's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Spicer Grip week, and so I apologize. I literally did the old rodeo trash. I called Rodeo. I said, hey, I'm headed over there to Spicer Grip. You guys want to do a podcast, and can I come rope with you and stay in your house and don't have a living quarters? I'm like, gosh, dang, boy, the old habits die hard, don't they?
Yep.
We love it. We were so glad you got to come.
It was fun. It was fun to practice with you guys. It was fun to see some of your guys' horses. It's
Yeah.
fun. Man, beautiful place.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Beautiful place. That house
Yeah.
up there on the hill, that's sweet. Arena's great.
Yep.
It was fun.
It's got some work we still got to do, but it'll
It
get
never
there.
ends.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. It was fun. And so we're here at the Spicer Grip this week, and it was really cool because, Rodey, you got to go out there during the ceremonies, the opening ceremony before the roping, and they honored your grandpa.
Your granddad. Yep, my granddad kind of helped. He actually built a lot of the arena here. He was a welder, and like I said, him and Spicer Grip were really, really good friends. And when they started this roping, they actually had it at his house for the first 3 or 4 years west of town here, about 8 or 10 miles west of town. And that's where they actually had the Spicer Grip roping for 3 or 4 years. And then it outgrew that pretty quick. And they built this facility down here, and he built a lot of it. And he was just a really hardworking man, and he passed away here this winter. And so they always do something for somebody here. I want to say there was 80 something people on the list,
The empty saddle.
the empty saddle list. And it's a big deal. And they put a lot of work into it.
It's such a great culture here and a great community. When you look at the whole town, they're kind of here, instead of like where a lot of towns put on rodeos and things like that, or cities put on rodeos. You guys basically put on an event that basically everyone around here does.
Absolutely.
There's some steer roping, calf roping, team roping. It's a great jackpot this week.
Oh, for sure.
20,000 added in the 12 and a half.
Mhm.
Yes.
I heard it paid 28,000 a man.
Mhm.
Yep.
The
Round-
14 was great.
The rounds yesterday and the 12 paid 7,500. I mean,
Wow.
that's,
And you guys won second in the round together.
Mhm.
We
What
did.
was that worth?
we won 5,000.
Nice.
So
And then you doubled that with the team? Or was
Yeah.
that 5,000 a team?
no,
A
it
team.
was the team.
Team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to me, it's fun to come here because I love the people over here. I've done a lot of clinics over here, hard-working ranchers, feedlot people, just great people. But it's fun to see the communities get behind this, and this is just a great event.
This is all scholarship, right?
Yes.
It all goes to the scholarship foundation. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And so, Brooke, when you're roping, I got to watch you rope in the 12 and a half yesterday. And what's that horse that you were riding? What's kind of some of the things that you do as you're competing to where, like when I came here to compete, it was nice having a horse that was a little bit more experienced. It kind of let me rope, especially against the best guys in the world.
Mm-hmm.
To me, trying to season a horse in that, for me, in that setting is like, it just doesn't seem like the success for me or the horse is going to be there. But man, you roped great yesterday and had a sweet horse under you. How do you kind of season them? What do you keep? What's your routine on your horses?
So I try to keep a horse or two around that I think I can go win on. Like I love to go jackpot and try to keep our money together, basically. It's hard to do, but that's what I really like to do. And so I always want to keep a couple good horses that are coming up that I think can take the pressure. And when I know I have one that's ready for me to haul to say the finale, then it's okay for me to sell my other good ones. That's how I keep the system rolling. And as long as I got one that I know it's coming up, I'm okay to sell one.
What was that? What was the name of that horse you rode yesterday?
That was Satisfied.
That
Is his
sucker
name.
looks
His name.
sweet.
Yeah, we call him Taz. But he actually come from Cade Rice, and he showed him in the futurity, and I think he made the Snapple Bit finals. But that's a really good horse. He fits me really good, can run, scores good. And,
Scores great, stands right there, looks right between the reins, goes right when you want, runs in your spot, and then just melts like a hot knife through butter across there.
He is really fun to ride for me.
It looked like he just did the same thing every time where you can go rope.
Yep. He
That's
makes
fun
it easy.
to have. So looks like I didn't know this until I came and roped at your house, and you actually told me it. I didn't see it either. But you've had some finger issues in the past.
Yeah.
So explain what happened. How did it happen? And
so 2 years ago, we were helping Trip Townsend doctor cattle outside, and I was tied on. And yearling was kind of running right, and I roped him, and my horse was stopping. And somehow, when I come forward with my slack, a coil out of my left hand sucked around my right hand, and it dislocated 3 of my fingers and broke my pointer finger. And we went straight to the hospital, and they tried to save my ring finger on my right hand, and knew immediately they had to take my pinky. And a couple weeks later, they had to go back and take off my ring finger. So I'm missing 2. My middle finger doesn't close all the way. It gets really cold in the winter, lost a lot of circulation. And then my pointer finger's kind of funny looking, but usable. So I'm just very thankful that I can still rope. There for a while, we didn't know how it would work or if I could even be competitive. And anyhow, it's all good.
I bet that was scary, and I bet that took a lot of getting used to.
It did. I was out for a couple months before I could start swinging a rope, and a good friend of ours, Trey Paul's, missing the same fingers, and I called him. I said, "So what's the deal?" And he said, "You're going to be fine. You already know how to rope." I had to learn without him. So when I kind of heard him say that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. He's a 7-header, 8-heeler, ropes really good, and it's like, well, if he can do it, I'm going to give it my best shot.
So did you have to make any adjustments with your ropes? Some ropes kind of stay in your hand better, some kind of fall out. What lays? What do you use? How did you kind of figure out what felt good in your hand?
Yeah, it was in the middle of summer, which kind of all ropes don't feel as good in the heat when I come back. So I always liked a softer rope anyhow, but worked really closely with Barry Berg with Cactus, and I've stayed on him, and we've just finally got it down to a really soft lay. He knows exactly how I want them tied, keep them straight. If they get a little too stiff, I go to losing them on the bottom side. I can't feel them as good. Everything's got to stay out in front of me pretty good, but he's helped a lot, and Rodey's always on me, and he can tell, he can swing my rope and know immediately if it's going to work or not. So
took a little bit different. Probably took some time to develop a feel to find out what worked and what didn't.
It did. Yeah, it was pretty stressful there for a while. I even tried using just a poly calf rope, to see if I could get by with that. But
what have you found that it felt like works?
It was definitely a Future extra soft, super super soft.
So you need it soft enough where it almost wraps around your hand. Then.
Yes, as long as it like almost drapes over my hand.
Makes sense.
Then I can get by with it. And in the summer, I have more trouble than I do in the winter time
because they stiffen up.
Yep, they do.
Have you found anything that takes the heat where it doesn't get as stiffened up a little bit, or just try to keep everything room temperature?
We try to keep it, yeah. Like during the grip, I would go and put it in the office, put my ropes in the office to keep them cool. Go right 2 or 3 runs before mine and go get it and put a little stretch on it.
Because that makes sense, because when I'm trying to rope smaller horns, I want a rope that's soft enough where the rope's literally going to fold around the horns.
Yep.
So you almost need that same thing around your hand.
Same thing in my hand.
That makes sense. Rodey, so you have been going to quite a few jackpots as well. But you also do a lot of stuff with the ranch rodeos, and it was cool to go in your trophy room. Man, it was badass to see all the top horses, and then was it the working or the working? What is it? The WRCA?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's the Working Ranch Cowboy Association, and what it is, it's just so at the beginning of the year, I mean, you have to show proof that you own cattle. You have to show proof that you either lease the land or you own the land. And then you also have to show proof that the guys actually work for you. You can have, 2 of them have to be full time, and then you can have like 2 day workers. And so anyway, I like the ranch rodeo stuff just because you do 5 events on one horse, and that's just always kind of the ranching has always been kind of more what I like to do. So
what are those 5 events?
So they do the cow milking, the branding, they have stray gathering, which they turn 2 roping steers out, and you just rope and tie them down, and then a sorting, and then the bronc riding. So it just, I like the ranch rodeo stuff. Like I said, you have to have a good horse. I mean, he has to be cowy. He has to have a good mind. You know, you have to be able to rope on him, and just an all around good horse. And we've qualified to Amarillo. I want to say this is my 19th year to qualify to the ranch.
And you've already qualified this year?
We already qualified.
So what's the
this year.
qualifying process?
So they have 24 rodeos throughout the year, all over the. I mean, I wouldn't say all over the world, because it's kind of it's Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona. They have some in the northern states. They'll have like one in Wyoming, Nebraska. Anyway, they like to spread it out. And so anyway, you have to win one rodeo, or say if the winning team is already qualified, if they've won the rodeo, say last weekend, then the second place team
drops down.
It drops down until nobody. So anyway, this is my 19th year to qualify. I've won top horse at the Amarillo 5 years, or 5 different times. And that's like a big deal to me, because we make a living on a horse.
That's cowboy shit right there.
And we do everything horseback. And I mean, like I said, we rope a lot, but if it was up to me, I would rather get up in the morning and go ride through cattle and doctor and rope and doctor and do that, and then come back and rope after that. But
now, what do you think that does as kind of your guys' routine and kind of your system and how you make horses? What do you think the ranch rodeos and day work does for your horses as you're training them to be rope horses?
So, I like a horse to do exactly what I want to do. I want them listening to me, whether, if I want to go left, I go left. If I want to go right, I mean, I want them as responsive to me. I don't want them trained. I want them broke. I mean, I think there's a big difference in a trained horse and a broke horse. And just whether it be sorting cows, sorting pairs, or
so what would you say a trained horse is compared to a broke horse?
Like in the say a reiner. I mean, like a reiner, you run down there and you got to sit down, and you can't just run down there 5 strides and pick up your hand and him drag his butt and turn him around and go the other way. There's like a process. I mean, you got to go down there and sit down and kind of open up, and then they slide. And usually I got to wait for them to quit sliding. I mean, I want one more in my hand and broker, like in the bridle. And just like I said, I want them moving off my feet, moving off my hand, and I want them to do it right now. I don't like the long drawn out process of.
I've heard a lot of people talk about at clinics, like, man, that horse is broke. You can throw a hat on it, you can throw a tarp on it, and this. And I'm like, yeah, that's not broke.
That's not broke to me.
That's gentle.
Gentle. That's exactly right. Exactly. There's a huge difference on what one broke compared to one that you can throw a tarp on. And
you bet.
Most of the time, gentle is not broke.
Yes.
Or broke isn't normally gentle.
If you can throw a hat under them and throw a tarp over them, them probably aren't the one I want to ride. They probably don't have enough to them to do anything. But
definitely for a certain.
There's definitely a place for it.
There's definitely a place for it.
Absolutely.
But just not what we're talking about. We're talking broke when these suckers move off the legs sharp, move off your rein sharp. I mean, can do stuff, move their feet.
We ship a lot of cattle. We run a few weak cattle of our own, weather permitting. If we get the rain, we'll run a few calves of our own. But we help a few people, and mainly we go do it for the horse. We might go ship 8 or 10 loads of cattle and be done in 2 hours, and it's as, I wouldn't say as fast as you can go. I mean, it ain't out of control wild, but I can load a truck pretty fast. And I feel like that gets a horse, that puts a lot of heat on them, puts a lot of pressure on them. And then when you turn around and go get the next draft of cattle, you make them walk down there. I mean, you may be asking them for their life to get cattle up on a truck and watch it, making sure nothing gets by you. But then when you turn around and ride off, I drop my reins and I let them literally sag off the ground and just walk back and get another set of cattle and bring them back up. But I want one good-minded, and I just want a good broke horse.
It does seem like the things that I've seen, the holes in my training is being able to get back outside. Horses are meant to be used. Mm-hmm. What you can do outside, sorting and cutting them steers and calves off each other, using them, especially
Absolutely.
out there on them wheat pastures, doctoring them things. And they learn how to hook up to the steer. They learn how to get their butt up under them because they know the jerk's coming. Mm-hmm. So many things that simulate basically the arena without always having to do it in the arena, because it feels like the arena sometimes, if they don't get out there, which I can literally feel it in my horse right now. He's been in the arena so much, he's getting bored of it. Mm-hmm. You can almost see a little resentment, back here again, to where And you could think of a week of going some of the places you guys go. We're talking about going to Brandon and going to other people's places and use them, and what it does for them mentally.
Not only that, but we've bought a lot of like cutting horses or whatever that didn't quite make, still good horses. And we think, oh yeah, we can go to right roping on them. No, you can't. You've got to get them used. And then it's just so much easier when you come back. I mean, I don't know how many times.
And some of them have never even been out of a stall.
Exactly. I mean, it's miserable, honestly, at first when I'm the world's worst. I'll think, oh, we'll go to roping on him. And then it's not much fun. And I'm like, okay, we got to get him back outside. And when you come back the second time, totally different horse. Yeah. It's not even the same.
Even a horse that's been rode in the arena a lot, like you see, like say a cutting horse, he's real cowy, and you think, oh man, I would love to rope on him. And you ride him outside and you go over a cow trail and he stumbles. You know, he hasn't never been outside, and you see a lot of people, oh, this is a ranch. You know, he might be complete reiner or a cutter that's won 100,000, and they say, oh, he's a good ranch horse. No, he's not. He's not. You may have rode him outside before up and down the trail, but he's not a good ranch. I mean, I wouldn't want to go rope and tie down a 1,200-pound cow, you know, by myself on something like that. I want
unless they've done it.
Absolutely.
And then,
unless they've gotten out of the arena.
And then take that one more step. If that horse can't cross a cow trail without, you know, stumbling over it, why do you want to go chase a roping steer going as fast as you can and hoping he stays up if he can't even cross a cow trail at a trot? I mean, that's kind of...
Absolutely. Because, I mean, you think of just think of rodeoing, for instance. Think of all the different places and ground we have. I mean, today it rained last night.
Exactly.
You know, it was sunk in one place and harder in another. I mean, you're exactly right on the fact you learn how to use your feet.
Sure-footed and make sure we're not going to end up upside down.
Yeah. Another thing, too, I think, is taking them to them ranch rodeos. They hear the sound of the crowd. They hear the music and the loud stuff, and you're actually getting them comfortable in the arena.
You bet. It's almost kind of seasoning them. Like I always ride.
It's kind of cheating, really.
You'll see me ride the one that I'm going to probably ride, say, at Vegas at the finale. I will probably have rode him the year before or the 2 years before at the ranch rodeos. And when I go to Vegas, not that it's a big deal, but
it is.
But it doesn't. I can ride them in there, and they may not have ever been to very many jackpots, but they've been ranch rodeoed on. I mean, the horse that I rode here this last weekend, he's been to 3 jackpots, and I mean, absolutely. I mean, I put up quite a bit of money to rope here at the grip. I rode him at Cheyenne 2 weeks ago, and I mean, Cheyenne was his second jackpot. People are looking at me like I was absolute crazy that he had never been hardly off the place.
But numb to all the pressure because of the stuff that you've prepped him for.
Because everything I've done, I mean, there was not one doubt in my mind that I was worried about anything that he's seen it all, you know.
Because like if I was to think of, say, this futurity colt that I have and get him going, and then if I was to compete on him in Vegas, the World Series finale, well, if he hasn't seen this much, okay, for one, if I make the short round and I'm roping for 150,000, my butt's puckered like it never has been at home. Like, there is crowd noise. There is people that show up. They blast the music.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, because it's not golf.
Right.
He's about to butt. No bullshit. They're like, oh my gosh, he's got a chance to win 150. I mean, the people are there. The electricity. You can feel the energy, and so can they. Yep. And my horse would look like a cartoon character with his eyes bulging out. But when that stuff has already been done, like what you're talking about, oh my gosh.
It's easy.
Yeah, such a great way to prep them and get ready for all that stuff.
And a lot of people
and they can overcome my nerves.
Right.
Because if I'm running for 150,
when we work cattle, if I'm stripping the cows and calves, like I'll ask one for their life, and I'm just seeing how far I can push them, and then I'll back them back off. And a lot of people are like, golly, that guy's going fast. I'm like, you dang right, I'm going fast and then I can drop my hand and he will literally just walk off like I've never done anything on him, you know. So I'm doing that to build confidence in the box, even, you know, and just little stuff that I do. Not any place that I go that the barrier's like it is here at the Spicer Grip, but say I'm here at the Spicer Grip and the gates bang and you're heeling and you're trying to get out there around him and the steer checks off. If you haven't ever put him in a situation, you're probably going to go by, you know. If what I do, say I might run him the length of this pickup trailer and make him drag his butt and get back around and run the other way half as far and make him drag his butt and turn him around both ways. To me, that's in their hand. That's in my hand. and he's doing what I want to do. He's
Mhm.
broke. So that's kind of why I do. A lot of people think I probably ride a little aggressive, and I do. I ride aggressive, but it's the way I do.
Also creates results. It sounds like later.
It's the way I do my deal.
Yeah, I love it, and it's been, like I said, I watched you guys rope at when we were up north in Nebraska when I did a clinic up there at the Haythorne Ranch, and just watching you run up there and rope, and when you would just put it on the horn, them sucker that left leg come up under, and they were just guidable. You could put that steer's horn hair on his back wherever you wanted it,
Right?
and that's that broke that you're talking about
Yes,
when
sir.
they're able to melt down and. You can put them where you want. When they hook up to that steer, it's fun to watch, and especially as natural as it is for you.
Yes.
And
sir.
when you were talking about doing stuff out there in the pasture,
Right.
when you're talking about doing a lot of that stuff at the ranch rodeo, you can see where then when it comes to making horses, like that's the stuff that's really hard to teach.
So that's
Such a feel.
another thing, like roping and doctoring. When I tie on outside, so and I like a horse that stops. So when I rope them outside, I usually jerk them over backwards first. And now I always take a heeler. Brooke always goes, and we doctor together outside, or whoever we're helping, and I will let the calf go, and get 4 or 5 strides, and frame my horse up, and do it just like I was in the arena, and I even make them face, outside roping and doctoring. I make them face and the whole deal, and then if I'm heeling, I'll tell the guy heading, hey, let him go 3 or 4 strides, and let me get up there to where, say we're in I say, turn them like we're in the 12 or 13, whatever you want to do. I said, don't just go in circles with them, but just roll them out there and turn them. And then you can heel on one outside for a week, and you look up and you've got a heel horse. And so anyway, I do everything outside, like roping and doctoring wheat cattle. I do it just like I'm in the arena. I try to rope them as quick as I can, so we're not chasing them, because at the end of the day, we're there to doctor the cattle. And so then we, let them up and pup them off and face and the whole deal. So,
Because what you just described to me, like, man, look how many, well, I've been there. How many times has I blew a horse up in the box because trying to get reps, because there's only one way if you're just roping steers. Because like back in the day when I was, making a few horses, we didn't have 4-wheelers, we didn't have the Smarties, wasn't able to go outside and do the stuff like that. So everything was out of the box. Well, it seemed like about the time you got them running up there rating, finally get them up there framed, get them facing good, then all of a sudden you got box issues.
Yep.
Well, think about all the stuff you've already done before you've gotten the box.
Right.
Where they've
It's
already
easy outside.
Yeah,
It's easy there.
He's almost started before he even got in the box.
Right.
That's cool. Well, one of the things, in my opinion, that really started standing out to me was when you guys started really stamping your guys' name in the industry was Rancho Rio. And I'd say, about 3 to 4 years ago, it seemed like you guys really started making a name for yourself, bringing some big money horses, some flashy horses, some nice horses, and the way you guys were doing it. Explain to me a little bit of, say, the first sale you guys went to. Would that be 4 or 5 years ago?
It would have been 2018.
And then walk me through the timeline of where we're at today.
So,
Because I like it, because what you guys talked about earlier was the learning process. You went there, kind of got sharpened up, found out what it is, and then when I'm telling you guys made an adjustment,
we did.
Knocked it out of the freaking park.
So I guess maybe it was 2019. We went the first year and had 2 of Rodey's horses in it that were pretty good, we thought. Just what he described. They were ones that they've used. They took to the ranch horse shows, ranch rodeoed on them. And we went out there. Didn't have great big high expectations, but we thought we could get them sold. Went out there basically the day before.
I think we went the Monday or Tuesday before, because we roped there.
Yep. And come down to the sale time, and we didn't get either one of our horses sold, and we were only wanting $25,000 a piece for them.
What did they look like? And also, when you guys went to show them, and there's however many people standing on the fence and all that, how nerve-wracking was that?
Oh, that was intense. I didn't expect to see that many people gathered around. I mean, you can't hardly even find a place to stand at Rancho Rio during
I'll
the
kind of
demo.
Interrupt for a second. I'll tell you what they look like. You just imagine a cowboy with no barn and taking his horses to Arizona, that lives in the panhandle of Texas, that cowboys for a living. imagine what his horses look like in 1st of March. That's what they look like. We had
exactly.
two blankets, hoods, sleazies, and they were still hairy.
And you bought them on the way out there.
There you go. Yeah. Just so it would lay down. Just so the hair would lay down.
And no tail bags. We didn't believe in that.
Well, I don't know that we didn't believe in it. We
didn't.
didn't.
We just didn't do it.
We're just dumb. I mean, like I said, I took care of wheat cattle my whole life. We grew up ranching and just being a cowboy is all I ever did. And so anyway, then
So that's one of the things you kind of noticed on the appearance. Now, when you guys got there and you started seeing the ones that were bringing it, what is that when the learning kind of started?
Yeah. When we come home, did we call Sarah McKibben?
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget. We were driving around checking cattle, and we just called Sarah up and said, "What do we need to do different?" Because Sarah and Mozon were out there, and did they have I don't think they had the high seller that year, or did they?
I think they sold one for $150.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe they did. And we're like, "What do we got to do different?" And she kind of gave us some pointers, and we went to applying that real fast.
That day.
Yeah,
that day.
We did. We made some phone calls and got some professional pictures done and kind of started cleaning up our act, and it's worked, I guess.
You guys change your feed? Like what was your feed program then compared to maybe now?
So our feed program, we buy all of our hay from Double M Feeds in Colorado City, Texas. That's all we feed is straight alfalfa. We feed round bales. We're just set up to feed round bales, and it comes in by the semi. I think since you've been here, there's been 2 loads. Since you've been here,
there's some horses stacked up.
2 loads of hay. Anyway, we just feed straight round bales. We do feed the Zestera lick tubs from Matt Zincanella only in our stalls. We have 9 stalls now, and they're not nothing special stalls. I mean, they're not completely enclosed or nothing. But we can keep 9 horses under lights, and we keep tubs, those Zestera tubs, just in those 9 stalls, and they're on all the alfalfa they want.
How about the nerves though backing in there? It's like I'd noticed it when I was Futurdian. It does feel a little bit like you're almost going to sell a horse because you're getting judged.
Right, 100%.
Right. If this sucker takes a wrong step here and there, like you're getting judged for it. If you're taking a wrong step as you're showing this, that horse sucks.
Yeah.
And so there is, you rope differently than when you're trying to win money, huh?
I feel like now that we are where we are, I feel like that every time I'm back in the box. Somebody's watching, somebody's critiquing, and I've almost got to the point now where I would rather think of it as, okay, I got to go show my horse instead of trying to go win something, because if my horse is prepared, he's going to give me a chance to win something.
Yeah.
Like I'm showing him. And so it's almost, if I think of it like that, I do good. But if I go to say, I got to go win this roping, then I'm going to beat myself.
Now, is that what it probably felt like
Not at
4
all.
to 5 years ago?
Not at all. It was completely opposite.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what you almost learned through this process from 4 or 5 years ago to where you're at now, where it's giving you the advantage.
Yep. You got to look at it a little different. Just go do your job and just let your horse do what you've been doing.
That's what Erin Tormino, she has saying something about preparing the horse and so that way you can let the horse do his job.
Exactly.
But it takes some good trainer and ability to it, but it also it's one thing to be a good trainer, but then now how do you do it? There's some mental stress to it. There's some mental hula hoops and gymnastics that go on sometimes in your head when you're doing something like, I've never done this. And it is for people that have never showed a horse either futurities or at a sale, it's a different kind of pucker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then what about the next year? So then after your first year, you kind of tighten some things up, figure some things out. Then what about next year?
So,
the second year going into this sale?
So the first year we went out there, and like Rodey said, we jackpotted one day, and I actually won the roping. It was a 13, and the horse I was riding that day, I said, all right, I'm going to bring this horse back. At the time, he was my best one. He was a buckskin horse. We called him Vegas. So I'm going to bring this horse back to Rancho Rio next year and see if we can do it right. And it worked out. We went, and he was the 4th high seller. We changed everything. And looking back, I had so many phone calls because I think we were emerging and people were just calling like crazy. I think wanting to get to know us, seeing who we are, seeing if we were legit. Now the phone don't ring as much as it did the first year when we had Vegas, and we were doing it correctly. Our videos were better. Our pictures were better. My advertisement on social media was completely different. And
we knew that we had a better, not saying that Vegas was a better horse than the horse that we took the first 2 years, but we had done our job. We had done taking care of business better. And I had to start, and there's people with all kinds of budgets, and I totally understand that. But I had to start telling people, people are like, hey, I want to come try your horse. And I said, okay, well, in my mind, I knew that this horse was going to bring more than our horses last year, just because. And so I had to start asking people, hey, I don't care, but what's your budget? And we had people saying, well, I've got a $30,000 budget. And I said, well, no disrespect, but you're not going to come try my horse for $30,000. I'm not taking $30,000 for him. It was just, so we kind of had to
learning curves.
Get that taken care of right then, because if not, one year we had a guy show up, him and his two boys, and they brought their beer cooler and they rode about 6 head of our horses, and they run and run and run and run. I mean, there was 2 of us heeling, and one would get off and the other one would get on, and they tried every one of them and said, okay, well, we'll see you at the sale tomorrow. And we never saw them. They just wanted to come bring their beer cooler, socialize, and ride all of our horses. So now you have to weed some of those people out. And like I said, if you are looking for a $30,000 horse, that's totally fine, but it's probably not going to be our Rancho Rio horse. And I just don't want.
Probably say take the probably out.
Right. Okay. So, well, I was just trying to be nice. So,
well, I do like the directness.
You bet.
Because if a guy does stay passive on it, you end up with that.
Yep. And then you may have one, and I'll tell you what makes you feel stupid when you say, and I feel terrible for asking, hey, what's your budget? And then you might have somebody say, I don't have one. And so anyway, I'm just using that for, it can go both ways.
Yep.
So, and like I said, I totally understand the guy that wants to because a $30,000 head horse is out there. They are out there, but we are not taking him to Rancho Rio.
Well, what's getting hard right now is when you look for a horse that you're trying to find right now that's a prospect for Rancho Rio. That's almost what you're giving for him, and even more.
Absolutely. 100%.
And so that's where some of this stuff has changed.
Yeah.
And what the prices are going to start being worth on them upper levels, because now you can't go find those good prospects anymore for a good one. I don't know if you can find them under 25 or 30 anymore.
No. And what we're doing right now, we're buying 2-year-olds and doing it ourselves. And that's, I mean, they'll ask you $25,000 for a good 2-year-old or some more, so, and then we keep them, we're liable to keep one for 5 years before we ever even think about
it takes that long before when you're going to Rancho Rio, they've got to see all the bells and whistles.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because that's where I think you've done a good job is gaining the trust, and they've been to all these different places. And when you go to the high call back in Vegas for $150,000, it is not going to affect this horse.
Absolutely.
That's our goal.
And we can tell everybody what we like. We have people come try horses, and they'll say, what's that horse there? And it'll be the 2 weeks before Rancho, and they're coming to try the 2024 Rancho horses. And we say that horse is he's going to Rancho next year.
Yeah.
And they're like, you already know what you're taking to Rancho Rio yet next year? It's absolutely.
You have to.
I mean, we have 70 to 80 head of Gildan standing around, and we know exactly, we know what's going this year already, and they hadn't even sent nominations out, and we already know what's going next year.
So what did that horse bring, if you don't mind me asking? Because it is public knowledge, Vegas.
He brought 52,000.
52,000.
Yeah.
And that was the first time you kind of started?
That was it.
And then what about the next year? So this would be year 3.
Going back to Vegas, the guy that bought him never even called and talked to us about him. Just bought him off of what some people there seen him work. And that was pretty cool.
And
a lot of it was your social media as well?
That, and she had won the roping on him the year before.
There you go.
The big 13 out there.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you want to find out if the horse is good, win.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Enter on him.
Yeah.
Yep. Put your money up.
And that's what we do. Our horses, they have a resume. We try not to sell them until they have a resume. And then you see so many people out there talk about how good their head horse is or their heel horse, but they're not entered on him. They're entered on their good old jackpot horse that they'll come kick your butt, but they're riding their old jackpot horse, and they got their sale horse over there in the stall that they're not riding. we rope on our. I mean, that's our horses that we enter on. That's what we put in the sales. We sell our best ones. We don't sell our lesser ones. We keep them until they are better, or we do something different with them. That's the ones we keep and ranch on, or we usually I'll have somebody call and want the $30,000 horse or something like that. But whatever Brooke is got in Rancho Rio, you can count on it. She's entered on him at Vegas and everywhere else.
And been there. What about year 3?
So year 3 was South Point. That was the special one.
No, it was.
Oh, it was Wichita.
Wichita.
Yeah, Wichita
And then you just had one horse in year number 3. You just had one horse in the sale.
We had 2. We had 2.
So you had 2 this year.
Wichita he was a 6-year-old gray Gildan.
Bought him as a 2-year-old.
And Rodey.
What was he bred like? Remember?
Nothing
special at all.
I think his
bought 3 of
registered
those.
name had worm it was so off the wall. I didn't recognize.
We bought 3 of those horses, and they were 2-year-olds, and they were supposed to be started. And I'll never forget, I got on him, and they said we'd rope the donkey on him a little bit. So I got on him and started swinging my rope, and he literally just got in a death spin to the left. He hadn't been roped on. Great sales pitch. You know, I should have known. But anyway, so we did everything. We ranch rodeoed on him.
He was beautiful.
He was real pretty. I heeled on him. I started as a heel horse and won a little bit of money heeling on him. Brooke started heading on him, and same deal. Guy bought him on the internet.
I think we were third high seller that year.
Third high seller that year.
125,000.
Nice.
And then was South Point the next year.
So what about year 4? And then year 4, and then also how many did you have?
We had 2.
2 again.
2
in the sale.
Our second horse at Rancho always brought from 40 to 70, kind of depend. But it's hard. You can't hardly put 2 great ones in. I mean, we always put our best one in, and then now is different because we have more of them. You know, we put our 3 best ones in Rancho now, or two or 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then we always at the time we put a good head horse and then one that I usually headed and heeled on. But Rancho Rio is Brooke's sale. I kind of sit in the back and get everything ready. That's her deal. And I'm 100% fine with that. I'm not too proud to say that, but everybody loves Brooke in Arizona, and she has a great relationship with all the guys out there, and they come. I mean, there's people that come watch her horses out there, just to come watch. And so I'm not going to try to steal the limelight of that.
Well, you do a good job, Brooke, in my opinion, of when we watch the sale, and you have such a good presence, and I'm sure you've probably gotten a lot more confidence now through, especially when you start banging those 6-figured horses, but also you can ride. But I mean, when you show up, you're a beautiful lady. You come with a sports coat on, so it's classy, and then you got your pants rolled up, so you got some punchiness to you, and riding the shit out of that horse with a freaking great shape on your hat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's such a dynamic between professional, classy, and beautiful, and all that stuff. But then a cowgirl,
right?
And when you ride that summit around the ring, like you have a confident presence about you, and it's like you said, if you got the strength, let's use that.
Right. And I think a lot of that, I mean, Rodey says he sits in the background, but he's the one that's responsible for a lot of that.
Well, it's a team effort.
Absolutely.
You play your strengths.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And the third thing about, with Rodey and I, the commonality we have is both married over our heads. So there ain't no sense going south.
No. And I'll say it, if I'm to go to work, if we're going to go do something in the morning, I mean, Brooke goes. I mean, if I have to go rope and doctor something in the morning, I say, hey, we got to go doctor cattle in the morning. Catch a horse. You're going. I mean, I don't care if it's sorting cattle. I mean, it can get a little stressful. Her and I out there. Oh yeah, sorting pairs.
I always tell everyone, if you want to really test the relationship, go sort. Go sort. You will find a lot out right there.
I might get a little heated, but I'll usually say it. I'm the kind of guy I can be mad and I'll say. I mean, I may be screaming at her for because of something. But as soon as I'm done, Well, then at dinner that evening, she still won't talk to me. And I'm like, what's
I love
wrong
it.
with you? Oh, I'm not even hungry. I'm like,
I love this.
But anyway, I'm like, hey, that was 6 hours ago.
You need to get over that.
You
Like that
let
horse.
you let the wrong,
I opened you up right there. Now it's time to come down. Loose reins.
You let the wrong
I wish
calf.
it was that easy.
Yeah, you
That's
let the
awesome.
wrong calf in the wrong gate, and you messed up, and I told you about it, but I'm over it now. I went and got the calf out and put him where he goes, and so we're good.
I love it. So get over it, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a lot of people listening to this are going to know exactly what we're
You
talking
dang
about.
right. I love it. I love it. So, okay, what about now 2 years ago? So you had
South Point.
South Point, which was 125.
South Point was 200.
So South Point went 200.
Yep. That was probably one of the best horses I've ever had. He took me
So is this year 4 now or year 3?
B
You remember?
4.
So the year 4. Now
Yep.
we're
Now it's
freaking
quick.
knocking some.
It finally we
So that
finally
was-
got there. We paid
And
our
that was the
dues.
high seller.
That was the
correct?
high seller. That was our first high seller at Rancho Rio. That
So-
horse was big and pretty and strong, and he took my roping to another level.
Yep.
That's when I was a 6 before my hand accident. I mean, it was easy to win because of that horse.
So that horse actually, Clay Smith. We used to go rope, or went and rope with Clay a little bit. And one day he was asking about the horse, and we were like, well, heck, you can ride him. So he runs some on him, and he's like, man, I love this horse. So said, I mean, I'm pretty easy about. I mean, if you like him, take him. I mean, we'll ride another one. That kind of makes us get another one going. If that old good one ain't standing there, it makes us get another one going. So we let Clay take him, and he actually took him. That was the year they had the finals in Texas, and he took him as a backup horse. And whenever they run,
2020.
Mhm.
when they run all the steers through and practice, or put the first 2 runs on them, or how many runs they put on him, he rode South Point.
Mhm.
I mean, and he said, I feel confident enough. I'm not getting off Marty unless something happens, but I'm taking Marty and South Point. So if I get off of Marty, I'm getting on him. So,
And that's the highest level in the whole world right there, folks.
Absolutely.
I'll never forget. Clay sent me a video, and he's on South Point in the arena breaking in the steers, and he turns him around real fast. And said, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he sent me that video of him turning him around in the arena.
Didn't they ride him in the Grand Entry?
I don't remember.
I think Jade, somebody got a Snapchat, and
Maybe.
Jade was right. Maybe it was the practice Grand Entry.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
But I thought that was the coolest thing for me. I mean, to see South Point get to be
to
turning
have a horse
around
in the race and see him at the top
Yeah,
level,
cool.
and you've made
It's
him.
cool.
That's a lot
so
of
then just
that's a lot of pride that a guy has, and proud, and it's fun.
absolutely. And so then the next thing, the same year, we're the kids that work for us entered the BFI. First year they have it at Guthrie. Well, guess what? They ride South Point. Gets the barrier on, I want to say on the 4th or 5th one to be 5th high team back in the big rope. And I'm not saying that was the year that they roped the strongest steers.
It was very strong. They were very, very strong.
That was the year that I see the most.
I think if you punch on the brakes, I think it'll quit. Yeah. Mine does
That
all
was
the
the
time.
year that
They
I
were really
seen
strong. I was there.
more
Yes.
runs at the back end. There was more 11 and
This guy.
12-second runs at the
Yes.
back end than
They
I've
were
ever
like
seen.
It's like a black set of natives or something.
Yep.
They screamed.
They did get it. Anyway, they
If
were.
he's hanging with that. That is.
I want to say they were
really
12
upper
on their
level.
first one. The steer was slowing down to go in the catch pin when they got him, and they battled their way back in and got the barrier on. I want to say on the 5th one to be 5th high team back in the BFI. The first year they had it at Guthrie, which I thought was unbelievable. And to be they're definitely wasn't the top 50, guys. They were guys that worked for us and rode horses for us. So anyway, Brooke gets on him in the 12 the very next day. Doesn't get to run one on him. Nothing. Just has to get on him at 8:00 that morning and placed in the 12.
Me and Tripp actually placed in the 11.
Okay,
Yep.
the 11.
I don't think I roped in the 12 that year.
Her and Tripp Townsend placed in the 11.
Which is even more of a testament because the steers are slower in the 11 than the
Absolutely.
12.
Yep, absolutely.
So anyway,
Just knows how to be rode.
Yep.
just a great horse.
That's pretty cool. How much did you learn with Clay Smith riding him and getting to be able to watch him rope and then, have him talk about what he sees and feels? Because that dude is an amazing jockey. I think a lot of guys got to see it last week
Yes.
at the big futurity out there in Utah.
Yep.
and he won
He's
it.
Unreal. Yeah.
And the dude's amazing on how good he can ride.
So when we went over there, the reason we started going is because he rode one of my good horses at the Futurity. I can't remember what year it was. And I took him over there for him to ride. And he's like, yeah, I'll ride him. And he was a Metallic Cat 5-year-old. And he rode him and South Point and 2 or 3 I took over there. And I was like, well, what do you think? He's like, they are so good to ride. And I don't know if he was just being nice telling me this, but it felt like he really liked what we were doing. And he liked the way they felt. And so that meant a lot to me. It was pretty impressive to see somebody else ride what we're doing, especially the different
level.
Styles. Yeah. I mean, from what I do to what he does is nowhere in the same ballpark.
That's a wide range of people when you're selling them to the public, and then you're selling, and then you guys got at the top.
Yep, and let Clay go run somewhere.
When we're World Series and going with the gates and trying to be 7, and he's seeing them
shoulder around
the end of the gate and being 5 flat in the middle of the arena.
It was that
was and he could do it. And
yeah.
But Clay, I've known Clay for a long time, since he was a little bitty kid, and I've always liked Clay, and now of course respect him for what he's done. And I mean, he's a
cowboy.
superstar.
I love that. Yeah. He's good in and out of the arena. I've always really liked Clay. It's been great. It was fun to get to see him, all those guys again today. But
you bet.
Yeah, he still can weld them bones and handle that horse right there, and put the jelly on the biscuit, handle them cattle. I love it.
Yep.
So what about next year? Let's get caught up now with recently now. So what all horses did you have last year? And then what did they bring?
So the next year was Honky Tonk, which we had bought as a 2-year-old, and he was from the Tongue River Ranch. Casey McCleskey hauled him a little bit around on the hillside to some pro rodeos, and that horse was real green when he was taking him. And then I went to heading on him. Rodey, I think, heeled on him a bunch too. Then I went to heading on him, and instantly I took him to the Riata Buckle. Was one of the first bigger ropings, and I think me and Ty Daniel were third call back. Ty Daniel got a leg. Sorry, TD.
Yeah, take that.
Sorry, TD. And we still placed though.
It was probably a bad handle.
I know it was. I promise. If my guys miss or get a leg, it's my fault. I promise. And so we still placed on him, and then we went to Arizona, and I won a ton on him. He was a great horse.
Like I say, that's what speaks volumes is when. If you're winning, there's proven.
Yep. That horse was one that we took to Tongue River when we stayed out there 9 weeks in a row. And I remember having him so tired ranching on him that I, honest to goodness, thought I was going to have to carry him. That was what I told Roddy. I said, I'm going to have to get off and carry this horse back. Like, I don't know that he's going to make it. Like, he was exhausted. He was done. And I was just trying to get him back to the pens is all I was doing.
That's funny.
Yeah. But that's what made him good.
And then what was that the high...
He was high seller. He sold for $160,000.
Nice.
Yeah. And then this past year, 2024 was Twizzler, and he sold for $180,000. We won over $200,000 on that horse. He was red roan, had 4 big white.
He was beautiful.
Stalking legs.
Had the chrome.
He was so cool. Yep. Anybody could get on him and win. Literally, anybody that got on that horse would win on him.
Yeah.
Heading or heeling.
Yep.
I mean, we had.
Yep.
What was kind of the ages that you sold them?
So South Point would have been the oldest at 9. Everything else, Honky Tonk was 8. Twizzler was 7 when I sold him. Wichita was 6. So our rule of thumb is around 8. And if they tell us that they're ready before that, then we'll sell them. If we love them, kind of like South Point, we kept him till he was 9.
So you guys don't. The thing about the Rancho Rio, that's kind of like the blowout.
Yep.
That's where. Because what Tayos has done with that thing, you talk about putting on a show. Oh my gosh, it's very
Between him
genius.
And Steve Friskup and Farron Lucero, you can't beat those.
It's
three.
a production. I mean, it's so many people go just to watch.
It's the NFR of horse sales.
Absolutely.
But that's not your only sale that you guys go to. Like you space a few of these out throughout the year. What are some of the sales that you guys take your horses to? What time of year? Where they're located? And do these sales kind of match up with what the horses are for that region?
Mm-hmm. We like to go to Level Inn. We go there 4 times a year.
And what time of year is that?
So they have one in the spring, summer, fall, and the winter sale. it's held there in Levelland, Texas. It's called the Clovis Horse Sale. Back when COVID hit, they moved it from Clovis, New Mexico, because of the lovely governor shut them down. So we could do what we wanted in
Communist.
Texas. That's right. We did. Steve moved it there, and it's been very successful since. That's kind of
amazing
where,
what freedom creates.
That's right.
Opportunity.
Yeah, amazing. And so we go there 4 times a year, and we take 1 to 2 head horses and maybe some heel horses, and get along really good. And then kind of Rodey's sell, since mine's Rancho Rio, he likes the Western Heritage Classic in Abilene in May. He gets to take sure enough good ranch horses there that we rope on, Rodey ropes on, and he's had that high seller there the last couple years. And then we like to go to Oklahoma City, take a horse or 2 there.
What time of year is that?
They have 3 of those, January.
And you go to all 3 of them?
Yes, we try to. We may not make the May sale, but we do go to October and January. The January sale is really, really good. And then what else, Rodey?
How many sales do you think you guys go to, not including the Rancho Rio, throughout the year?
So really and truly, we've only been to go to Levelland.
Mm-hmm.
They have 4 sales in Abilene, so it'd be 5. This year we started going to Pitzer's.
Yep.
First time we've ever been to Pitzer's. And we're going to go back in the fall. And then the Oklahoma City sale. So we go to about 8 or 9 sales a year.
Because I grew up there in Oregon, and one of the places that I used to grow up roping, that was called Bar 88, and not very many indoor arenas up there, and it rains 9 months out of the year, so you're constantly roping inside. So when we were up there, well, they get 1 check a year.
Wow.
They raise Christmas trees.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, like, literally their whole year was banked on that one time a year. And so Rancho Rio is not your one time a year. Right. So you guys, you could do a good job of staying in the game throughout the year, where it's not like selling Christmas trees, but it's only once a year.
And we try to, we put the right horse, try to put the right horse in the right sale. You know, you go to Levelland and you got Steve Friskup. We always take at least 1 really, really good head horse there. And he will be the first to tell you. There's time. I mean, we might bring a horse to Levelland that might bring 50 there, and he will be the very first to announce, hey, I know this horse will probably bring 100 in Arizona. So I appreciate them bringing it. And we know it too. I mean, we may take a really, really good horse and we're like, man, I wish this horse could go to Rancho. They can't all go to Rancho. Rancho happens once a year.
Yep.
And we get 2 spots. Last year we got 3. We put a heel horse in. First time we've done that. The first time we've done it in a long time. And so anyway, there's times you're just like, man, I don't want to waste, not wasting, but when you get a good horse, you want to get what they're worth, because then the next one, you may have to give $35,000 for a prospect. And when you get ready to sell him, he may bring 20.
Yeah.
So he may not be what somebody told you they were.
Or he may not just make. He may
not want to be a rope horse.
Yep. That's the risk that we take.
So those are the best ones that you go to that give the best results in throughout the year, other than Rancho.
Yep. And then another thing, we welcome people to come try them. We want the horse to fit the rider.
Yeah. We
don't want a phone call later. We want them to come try them. That way, if they don't like that one, they can ride the other one. And like I tell everybody, if you'll be honest with me about what you're looking for, I'll be honest and tell you, hey, this one I think will fit, or no, I don't think that one will fit. If I have a guy say, hey, I'm an 8-header and I'm rodeo on, I'll just say, oh, we go to the World Series. I mean, that's just what we do. And if you don't have one leaving pretty quick after you nod, you're at the back end. And if you're at the back end, you ain't winning nothing. Or if if Brooke's riding one and has been roping in the 14s, and, in Arizona, them steers are strong, the arenas are big, and it's full even the 13s and the 14s in Arizona are pretty full contact. And say we have an older man call, and I'll just say, well, I think he's going to be a little too much horse. I'm not going to fool any. I don't want the phone call later, because like I tell everybody, I'm going to be at the next roping. I'm going to be at the Spicer Grip. I'm going to be at the the
Finale.
BFI.
Yep.
I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to be at Rancho. I'm not going to dodge anybody. And when you walk up, I want you to say, hey, I just won the Cody Johnson roping on that horse. I just won the Riata Buckle. I mean, the guy that won the 12 at the Riata Buckle last year bought the head horse from us. And so that's pretty cool. And
Out of level end, sight unseen.
yeah, bought him over the internet. Had no clue what the Riata Buckle was. They buy him. He calls me, says, hey, what's this Riata Buckle? And I says, well, it's a roping that if you win it, you can pay for your horse. And he did. And we stalled next to him at the U.S. finals. And we talked to him and he's like, man, I'm watching, I'm watching. I want another horse. So
it's nice when you start being able to create a good product where you don't have to be desperate and they come to you. And I think that's where so many of the horse traders get so desperate is because a lot of times they're riding junk.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to knock a home run or get enough base hits, and they don't really care what they have to do to get it because they're starving,
hungry.
they're
sure.
and so it's nice when a guy can get above that
You bet.
to where okay, now let's do good.
You bet.
Let's do good with this.
Like my saying that I tell almost everybody that calls, not every horse is going to fit every person.
Mhm.
And so we really want people to do their homework. We want you to reach out and tell us what you're looking for. And I can tell you nearly every time I can tell you, yes, that's going to work
Yep.
or it's not going to.
And a lot of people buy them over the phone and not even come try them and then get them home and it fits because they were honest. They were honest with us, and we're going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
well, there's a lot of times people don't even call. We put out so many good videos of. I mean, there's I bet Honky Tonk and Twizzler. I bet we had 30 or 40 minutes worth of videos. Time it was said and done on those horses, and so you don't really have to come ride them. You can see what they are, honestly.
Right.
And we do. We hear a lot of people with a little bit of feedback say, I like the fact that y'all have ranched on them. We like that you can take the tie down off of them and you can ride them without a tie down and go ride them across the pasture and do cowboy stuff on them. And it's not set up. We don't say, hey, we're getting ready to go to the horse sale. Let's go to the pasture and ride through the cows. I mean, we're like, hey, we're going to go brand next week. It's pure. What we do is pure and
organic.
Yeah. We don't go make stuff up. We don't go turn one out.
It's nice. Like I said, when you don't have to.
Yeah. We don't go turn one out and then go rope him and load him back in the trailer. I mean, it's stuff we do. I mean, it's real stuff.
Kid Rock's got a cool saying. I think everyone knows, huge fan. But I think he has got a saying. He said, if it sounds good, they'll listen to it. If it's marketed right, they'll buy it. But if it's real, they'll feel it.
There you
and
go.
There's a lot to real.
Yeah.
I mean, when shit's real, it's not. You don't have to fake it.
Yep.
Hey, we're going to be out here. Let's get some footage of it.
Absolutely.
Yep. That's cool.
So with our current administration, luckily you got out of New Mexico, right?
Yeah. Thank
and
God.
I mean, what we're getting saddled with right now with freaking middle class just getting punched in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
The poor is getting poorer. Inflation is so freaking high. Our interest rates are so high. Groceries, I think, are up 20 to 30%. Fuel is up more.
Pickups.
You can go on down the line of everything that we're just getting kicked in the gut with and watching our money go overseas. I mean, we can get as political as you want, but it's nothing take too hard. Money's tight.
Absolutely.
Money is getting real tight for a lot of people. And at my clinics, I always tell everyone right off the bat, I'm like, thank you guys for trusting me with what you have at the end of the month. Because I know, like, for me, I'm going to work my ass off to make sure that you get your money's worth, because I know that this was an investment for you that was hard to make.
And you want to give a return.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And so what does the horse market look like? Have you guys seen it? Because we do live in a bubble,
Yes.
and I think yesterday, the 12 roping was limited to 100 teams.
Mm-hmm.
They're still getting 100 teams.
Yep.
Absolutely.
The 14 roping only limited to 100 teams at $1,250 fees a man.
Yep.
Still full.
Still full.
So you're still seeing like certain guys still roping. But what about the horse market? Have you seen a drop? Have you seen anything to where is there a certain kind of horse that maybe is not bringing as much money? And what does the horse market look like now with all this shit going on?
We've seen that the lower end of the horses have come down. If you don't have the superstar, the great ones, it's probably going to hurt a little bit more, especially on the selling side of them. The the horse that everybody wants, that everybody's looking for, whether it be the prospect or the finished one, they're still costing a lot.
Mainly the one you're riding. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're out here, I mean, we hauled 3. We came over here and roped for 2 days, and we brought 3 horses, and we rode them all. That's the horses that everybody's wanting now. The people that have them tied to the trailer out there that say, "Hey, I've got a good one." Oh, right on. When are you up? I'll watch him. Well, he's tied to the trailer. I'm not going to ride him. Well, guess what? I probably don't want him either.
And so those horses are coming down because there's not quite the demand. I think people are wanting a horse that they can justify to spend their money on. If they can feel like they can go win on him, there's a pretty good chance they're still going to get their checkbook out. But if they're just an average horse, where 3 or 4 years ago, those average horses were bringing a lot of money. But I do feel like those have come down.
Have you seen certain sales drop? Like when you guys have been going to some sales here lately, has some of them kind of dropped in what they're given, or has some of them actually gone up?
I think it kind of has gone both ways. I think the good horses are still stout.
For us, for this year, every sale that we've been to, our horses compared to the last years previously, especially even 2023, they're higher this year.
That's wild,
isn't it?
That is so wild.
And we're thankful that it's staying strong.
Absolutely.
Because that way we keep wanting to invest.
That's so. Because like you say, what people don't realize is what these prospects are getting up to. There has to be a profit.
Yep.
If we're going to make them, there has to be enough room to make a profit. Well, if we're buying 20 or 25, even 30, somewhere even 40 now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, well, what's that horse going to have to be when I make it to where it's worth your training and things like that? And so that's where I think guys don't understand it. It's gone up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you guys breed horses when it comes to, you said you have 70 head of horses. So do you guys breed some? Do you look for them? What ages do you get them? When you guys go to replenish the herd, what's some of the steps do you guys go through?
Well, we're always looking. I mean, we're looking at horses. I mean, we look at them every day. We buy lots of 2-year-olds. We've been buying the last 2 years. We've got to buy quite a few off of the 4-6s. We've got a pretty good relationship with the 4-6s ranch, and they let us come pick through all their 2-year-olds. And last year we bought 5.
Mm-hmm.
This year, in January, we got to go buy 5 more. So just in 2 times we've been to the 6s, we bought 10 colts. And those horses now, I mean, we've been using them and going on with them, and they're starting to make horses. And then we also buy quite a few horses off the Tongue River Ranch. We actually go help the Tongue River quite a bit when they brand and wean and do the stuff. We go down there and stay with them. We rope a bunch. I mean, we're great friends with all of them there at the Tongue River. Like I said, we'll go stay for a week at a time, and sometimes we'll even take our own steers just so we have enough. And we go and we work all day and we rope all evening. And so we got a great relationship with those guys, and we get to buy horses from them too. So we like the ranch type horse. Of course, you love the Metallic Cats and the Stevie Ray Vaughan, the
name brand,
horses. But what the 6s is doing, they're name brand too. Tongue River, they have the Pepsi horse. They have a Woody B. Tough stud. And not saying that I like riding horses with brands all over them, but they see that. People see that.
Those brands mean something.
Yeah, the
just, heritage that comes with them, the experience. Those guys know what they're doing when they go to cutting colon and deciding what to breed for the next years. They've got generations of time put into them.
Yeah, they put their what fits for that mare. They put the best stud with them, and try to raise the best horse. So we get along really, really good with the ranch type horses. But
so there's certain character that they have, and they've created a brand.
Absolutely.
And that brand is very trustworthy, and it means a lot because there's something behind.
Exactly.
You bet.
And tradition.
Same that we're trying to do.
And I want to do them a good job, because here's the next thing. I want to go sell, like the Honky Tonk horse was a Tongue River horse. I want to do a good job for Tongue River. That way they call me and they say, "Hey, we've got some good colts. We would like for you to come look first." exact same way with the 4.6s. I mean, with everything going on at the 6s with Yellowstone and all that, who wouldn't want to be kind of tied in with the 6s? And like I said, for us to get to go down there, they let the Cowboys pick, and then they called us first, or Doc called me first and said, "Hey, Cowboys picked yesterday.
Man,
you're next.
really
you're first on the list." And we got in the pickup the next day, and we drove down there, and we picked 5 head out, and I hope I'll buy. I mean, next year we'll buy 5 more. It's just the relationship to that, and like I said, whenever they get a more colts, I want them to call me first, because we have to have them. We have to have the horses.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys are looking, you talked a little bit about breeding, some of the places you went, but like when you're looking at them, is there some characteristics that you see? Is there some confirmation that you like, that you're trying to look for, as well as when you're trying to pick these out?
We do head horses, so we like head horse size.
What's your size? What's the low and the high?
Well,
height wise,
right?
Obviously.
It's hard to say. 15.2 is plenty big for us, mainly because for who we sell to. I mean, you don't want to, especially at a World Series, you don't want a great big old 16-hand horse at a World Series. He's almost hanging over the eye. But I like a horse that beat 15-1 and weigh 1,300. I mean, we've got some horses that, and I know 1,300-pound horse is a big horse. A lot of people say, "Oh, that horse don't weigh 1,300," but like the South Point weighed 1,460.
Mm-hmm.
He was 15.2 and weighed 1,460. I mean, he was a hoss.
That's a hoss.
And I mean, just like the Shamrock horse that went to Rancho Rio last year. I mean, he was a tank. He was probably 15.1, maybe
15 hands.
15 hands, and I think he weighed 1,360.
Yeah.
I mean, I have pictures in the house of me roping like bucking bulls on him. I mean, I want one that whatever the job is that day, that's what that horse is going to do. Whether it be go drag bulls out at the rodeo, or go brand calves, or anything in between. When it's their day, it's their day. We don't think that there's a horse, "Oh, we're going to go brand 200 head of calves today." That horse can't go. That horse probably needs to go. And that's just what I feel like has done us so good, because we get to go use them. And back to where we started, that that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
And so the size is 15. I mean, I don't mind a heavy 14.3.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference in a 14.3 that weighs 1,250, 1,300, or a 14.3 that weighs 1,000. I mean, that's 2 different horses. I mean, we have people call us all the time, "Oh, he's 15 hands." I mean, he's a rat though. He weighs 900 pounds. That ain't going to work.
Right.
So anyway, so
there's always the exception to the rule, though. I mean, no matter what it is.
We're not gonna turn away at a good horse. I mean,
that's exactly what we want.
If he's a good horse, we're gonna look. If he's
good-minded,
mm-mm.
that's the most important part for us.
So what do you mean by good-minded? Can you elaborate on that? What are those characteristics when you say good-minded?
One that's going to stay put together, that isn't going to try to kill you if he gets a month off, but that can take the heat and the pressure. Wouldn't you say, Rodey?
Absolutely.
That's the most important part, is being able to take it.
With the Riatas starting to take off now and becoming a huge event, how much weight does it kind of have now when you guys are looking for some of these horses to be Riata eligible?
So it's a huge positive. I don't know how many times I got a phone call this morning about a good friend of ours looking for another head horse. I told him about one, and his first question is he a Riata? No, he's not. Okay, what do you have that is Riata? And I told him, and he liked the sound of that horse and is very interested. So I think the general public is definitely leaning that way. And then Denny, we look up, and he's now starting to have incentives at the World Series at different ones, at different places. And so that's just another reason why you want a Riata buckle horse. And there's so many Riata buckle studs now, it's pretty easy to go find one at this point.
What's some of the success you guys have had already with the Riata roping?
The first year that they had it, we went, and I was fortunate enough to be the high money winner for the weekend. I think we won, between me and Rodey, about $111,000. think my part was 60 or 70,000. I can't remember, probably closer to 70, but I think I placed in every roping but one, and that was the roping that Rodey won second in. So it worked out pretty good. We had a great weekend.
Yeah.
We were riding young horses. It was the first big weekend, big roping that I went to after get my hand cut off, and ironically I won the 10 with Trip Townsend. So that was even more special because that's where I hurt my hand at. I was helping Trip. And
that's
so
cool.
Me and Trip and Rodey were all really good friends, and I always talk about it, but
So she won on Twizzler. She won the 10 on Twizzler. Last year, they healed on Twizzler actually in the 10 and won second on him in that. And then I have a Betty's a Cat that we've had since he was 2. He's 6 now. I call him Broadway. Ranch rodeo on him and do the whole deal. One top horse. I mean, just an absolute great horse. Like I said, he's a Betty's a Cat, and they were heading on him and win almost 140,000.
Yeah, I think so.
On those 2 horses.
Between the incentive and the actual jackpot, it was pretty impressive.
That's real impressive.
Yeah, and what was really cool, the good friend of ours that was heading on him had never rode that horse before the roping. Got on him. got on him. And he heals mostly.
He's listening. He will be listening.
Yeah.
I'll just tell the story. So he has the other True that helps us. He had True saddling, go warm him up. Just typical healer.
Yeah. This all sounds familiar.
Brings a brand new rope.
Poor True.
Brings the brand new rope. Gets on Broadway. Lopes about 3 circles. Wins 60-something thousand on him. Of course, leaves the rope on the saddle. Well, me and True have to go unsaddle the horse. Well, what are we going to do with the rope? We keep it. He calls us and wants his rope back. Me and True are like, no, you ain't getting your rope
This
back.
has healer stamped all over it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Healer / truck driver.
Yeah.
At that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You're welcome for the shout out.
So not only winning at them, you've had a lot of people winning on your horses at them too.
And that is probably cooler than us winning on. I mean, of course we want to win.
It is fun having that horse in the race, though. It really is.
Yeah, that was a blast. Cheering for our friends. That
sometimes, like knowing,
and nerve-wracking too.
Knowing that a horse that you've rode. I mean, that horse, when we bought that horse, bought him as a 2-year-old, didn't hardly know left and right. I mean, we have literally did everything from the ground up. And one of my most favorite horses, I mean, he's 15.3 and weigh 1,400. He's red roan with a long mane and tail.
And you'll probably see him at Rancho.
And he's broke. Like I said, I won top horse on him at Denver. I mean, you can do anything you want to do on him. I heeled on him. I've headed on him. And then to see somebody else where you have no control, you're sitting in the stands and you see somebody else get on him and can go win 70,000. You're like, man, that's cool. That's cool to me. That means a lot to me, knowing that what we're doing, somebody else can get on it. And cause I used to hear it a little bit, well, I'm not sure I can ride behind that guy, that guy. And then you kind of think, well, I wonder, can he ride behind me? But you let somebody else on them and they go win 140,000 on your horses. You're like, well, that's cool.
I think with these horse sales, doing it the right way, especially like Rancho Rio and some of the other ones you're talking about, and also the fraternities, is when I started, once I retired from full-time rodeo, I was doing a lot of lessons, a lot of clinics, and so I'd get a lot of input on, what they're looking for, what other headers, that come to the clinics, what they're looking for, what is it that is hard about trying to find a horse? Just because I'm a student of the game, I like to hear about it. And it's like, well, looked over here, and I said, well, why don't you just get like a 12-year-old horse that's kind of been there and done that and experienced, and because I think Trevor said it good. He said, well, sometimes what people want and sometimes what people need are sometimes can be two different things.
Different horses. I agree.
And I was telling a group of these guys, it's like, man, why don't you just find one of them old rodeo horses that are just good and easy and honest? And go. He said, that's great. Find me one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I didn't realize until then, man, there is way more ropers than there are guys making them.
Yep.
And I think with what some of these sales are doing, and I think a lot of what these fraternities are doing is just getting people where they're tightening up and doing a good job of training these horses. We're starting to see the training's getting better. Yeah, the training's getting better. The horses are getting better. As the fraternities, has it been something you guys have looked into yet? Have you dabbled with it, kicking it around? What are you guys thinking about that? Because especially with the intermediate and the things like that, is not, you can go in there and compete against Joseph or Trevor. But there's also another bracket to where you're also kind of staying within the same ability level. But
Right.
the cool thing about it, though, is you're also roping from the same spot.
Yeah.
It's not like they're able to outuse your rope.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I didn't know if there's anything you guys kind of looked into yet or not. Or
We actually just talked about this last week. I asked her, I said, hey, do you want to do would you like to do the futurity? We need to help on it, of course. I mean, just the scoring and
Fine tuning.
we need fine tune before we go. But I do think that it's a great thing. For what we do, we didn't think it ever really worked for us because, I mean, to go win at the futurities, you got to have your horse pretty aggressive. I mean, you got to have him
at foot speed,
Yeah,
and buttons that you have to put on them for sure.
I mean, of course,
Sometimes that can be hard to follow for someone else to ride.
It's a regular barrier.
Mhm.
So then you ask them for their life, and then they put a lot of pressure on them. So that never really fit what we did. We try to get it to where anybody can ride them, where they're
Mhm.
pretty user friendly.
Right.
And so, but now, I don't know, last week I just said, hey, what about maybe doing the futurity deal a little bit? I'm not saying we're going to go set the world on fire the first year. And we may go to 2 of them and say, that ain't really for us. But we definitely have
I
talked
think
about
we need
it.
to give it a try. Yeah.
Well, like where it is for me, like I said, I got 2 horses, I mean, and I do over 40 clinics a year. But man, to do a good job, in my opinion, with clinics, got to compete a little bit.
Mhm.
And so what's been nice about now that I've gotten a lot of the other stuff done, those distractions that I needed to get done in order to get to where I wanted to go out of the arena, a lot of that stuff I've gotten accomplished and I've gotten tackled. So it was fun to be able to come here and go compete against the best in the world because I still got Cotton. He's good.
Mhm.
And it was fun because I ain't got to compete in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And was I nervous? Yeah, a little bit. But I was like, look, I've already freaking put myself in the freaking ringer of having to live and die by winning money.
Right.
Don't have to do that now. So I got to come and enjoy it. But for me, it was a $1,250 clinic
Mhm.
because here's what I did great. I thought my horse freaking scored outstanding.
Mhm.
I thought I wiped the barrier out. I thought I was aggressive on the way in. My horns looked good. My horn loose looked good. Now, need some work after I dally, because to me, when I looked at it, the hard part I got done.
Yep.
That other stuff, that's easy enough. What I thought I didn't do a very good job of is I didn't do a good enough job of getting enough steers that were real enough to where when I got here, it was slowed down where I was ready. I wasn't fully ready. And it's hard to keep steers like this at home because for one, they're expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And for another, I was trying to, I just didn't get it accomplished. And so, but I got some confidence in the fact of I can still get to the same spot and rope where I needed to rope to win money.
Yeah.
And so to me, I cleaned those things up a little bit. I'm not scared to go to Vegas
Right.
now and
Right.
rope against those guys again. Now I know a little bit after that. Here's what I need to do next. Here's the preparation I need to do. And so I got a chance now to feel I can go compete. Well, I did that same thing with the futurity. I've got one futurity horse, and the first one tanked. I think I was 218, 29. I don't even know if I crossed 220.
Yeah.
I mean, just tanked, sucked. And then the second one I went to, the first one, I got hung out with Trevor and Miles and Joseph for a week. And then the second one I went 230. Would have been a
Damn.
231, except Joseph must have thought I was going to compete with him. He roped a leg. But holy crap, that was a huge improvement. But from the first one to the second one, finding out where my holes were.
Right.
And
right.
for one, it's the stuff that for me that keeps me alive. I like getting better.
Yeah.
I
100%.
don't want to get stagnant because if I can keep up with this, now look how much better my horses are getting. Now look how much better I'm getting. I'm not dying.
Yep.
I'm still getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so for me, that's what's kind of fun about it. But because I got to have a part-time stuff to do a little bit because for one, it helps me better with my clinics.
Hmm.
It's good to be able to walk through with people that are still nervous. I was nervous. My horse was nervous.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? But it was fun. If I still don't do that, it's hard for me to teach it.
It's hard to explain it.
One thing about it, you didn't look to me like you lost much. I don't know if you were paying attention, but Driggers wins the first round here. It's at the grip. And
Or
if y'all
wins
would,
the fast time overall.
well, he won the first round, but y'all would have won the second. I don't think they paid anything, but when you rode out, I know Corey got a leg, but y'all would have y'all were winning the second round minus the leg.
Yeah, no, it felt good. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The hard part was, but that's the stuff I get to practice at home all the time. I don't hardly get enough healers to come over and rope and say that to me, there was my hole.
Mhm.
Next time before December, that's what I'm going to be working
Right.
on. And to me, like I said, you come in, that was a clinic.
Yep.
Yep.
That was I put my money up. Here's where it went wrong. This is where I'm going to get better at. And yeah, it's to me, I love that stuff. It kind of keeps you you drove.
Yep.
Yeah. But as your guys's, I really think you'll do good at it, especially in the incentives. And to me, I think it would be probably fun to kind of like get out of your comfort zone because you're getting the sales down.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it'll be good for our horses' resumes too to
Mhm,
add
absolutely.
that. And my big deal is, and it probably drives Rodey crazy, but there's a handful of guys that I really respect, whether it's Bobby Simmons or whoever. I'll go to them and ask them, "What do you think about this horse? What's your opinion?" Well, maybe it's time that we start getting somebody else's opinion on a scorecard.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be a bad thing.
Well, it's going to stretch you and grow you for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And then you look up and you're like, holy smokes, look at now where we're at.
Yep. And I was telling Sterling Vi a few weeks ago, we went to Midland and roped, and I told him, I said, I just want to get better. I don't know, between having Rio and cutting my hand off, I feel like I've become stagnant. I've been kind of stale. My numbers gotten lowered again. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to stand for this. I want to get better. And so anything I can do, we've been joking with or telling Trevor we want to come rope with him. I truly do want to get better, and whatever it takes, if that's a step in getting better, I want to do it.
That's fun because when we talk about success attracts success. And so now that you guys, like I say, you made a huge splash in the horse market and you guys are becoming well known for what you're doing. You guys are doing a great job with it between your integrity and what your horses are doing, and starting to become a pretty cool now when you go to certain spots and you're known now.
It is.
And because, like I said, it's success attracts success. But also it kind of creates another change a little bit, doesn't it?
It does.
There's a little bit of a backlash when a guy starts getting to the top of some stuff.
You hear background noise.
Especially if you've watched too many comments on social media.
Yeah.
So has there been a little bit, have you noticed a change in the last few years since you guys started knocking home runs on these big time horses?
There is, especially, I don't know if you want to say people down lower, or how do you say it, Rodey? Just.
Oh, I probably shouldn't comment on this because I don't have anything nice to say about those kind of people.
Well, I'll go ahead and step in. I got this one. So what I have noticed is that a lot of rocks get thrown.
Yes.
And what a guy doesn't realize is when, I think for a lot of it's just ignorance. And I'll throw myself under the bus. I was an ignorant kid. I used to say, well, if I had money, I could do this. I mean, I remember saying it a couple of times. No, you don't. I didn't have money. I made it. Triggers didn't have money. He made it.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that I've said because it was kind of the circle I was in a little bit, and the fact that all that stuff wasn't true. It just sounded good because it's kind of here around. Well, then as you kind of start stretching up and getting better, like I said, success attracts success. And what's funny about it is a lot of guys say stuff that I'm not even sure if they even realize what they're saying. But when they're talking about, oh, well, this guy, I can't believe my horse is better than that. You had 200 and whatever thousand, and you're like, look, that guy didn't buy the horse. He made the horse.
Right.
So they're cutting down the guy that actually put the work and heart and sweat and tears in these horses and happened to knock a home run, which is awesome. I mean, when I see it, I'm happy for him. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is, man, your jealousy really popped out on a freaking on a Facebook comment right there. I don't know if you guys realized it, but man, you showed your cards right there.
What I see of it, it's people that don't even probably really rope. Somebody you never even seen before. Like now, I probably won't even click on the comments because
Post and ghost.
So last year, Brooke sells her horse $180,000. I mean, he was a head horse. I mean, he wasn't the brokest horse we've ever had, but whenever you win $200,000 on him, why take him out? And I mean, yeah, she rode him outside a little bit. Did she love it? No, but she took him and used him a little bit. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you can go win $200,000 on one. Why would you want to take him and go try to get him broke, or just go enter another roping, and go win another roping on him? So she sells him at Rancho Rio. He doesn't spin a hole in the ground. He doesn't do it all. And one of the comments was a lady that worked at Tractor Supply. I clicked on her name. She worked at Tractor Supply, and she wanted to talk shit on how unbroke that horse was, and he rode around with his head up in the air. And I'm just like, lady, you've probably never rode more than 2 hours a day. Why are you over here talking crap on us? I mean, I want to get pretty mad pretty quick. but I'm just like, so finally I just had to quit. So of course I do comment back. I mean, I can't hardly keep my mouth shut.
She got you.
So then you have
Such a
other
Sucked
people.
your right on in.
Yep. So then we have other ones. So finally I just said, hey, I'm not even going to look anymore. And then I have people call, hey, I seen what you put on Facebook. And I'm just like,
I got you.
If somebody comments, the first thing I tell them, hey, easy there, keyboard cowboy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, so now people that I look up to, somebody posts something.
What you'll notice is the guys you look up to, they're not posting.
Absolutely. That's what I'm just saying. You look up and I think, dang, did you see what they just said about that guy? He ain't going to reply, and I'm like, yeah, he don't care. And so we learn a lot,
It's a thing, isn't it? A guy starts talking about, when people get up there and, people, it changes.
Yeah.
Things change.
Absolutely.
And it is amazing. Like, it's sometimes it gets lonely at the top,
Yep.
and the fact of like, there's not, a lot of guys that, you kind of become an easy target, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And it's a thing. I've, that lady at Tractor Supply, that's funny because I was just noticing all the heat Tractor Supply was taking because they went to DEI
Yep.
and started having drag shows at some of their places. And so,
Pretty sad.
I wouldn't feel bad in
No.
the fact that makes you,
And-
let's just put her in the drag queen category.
And I'll be the very first to say, I'm not talking any crap on anybody that works at Tractor Supply, but if you work at Tractor Supply, I'm pretty sure you don't cowboy better than I do, or rope better. I mean, I don't mean that bad, but I'm just like, go clean up the mess on aisle 3 and quit worrying about that's what I wanted to put on there. Isn't there a mess on aisle 3 that you need to go clean up? Quit worrying about what we're doing.
It's great that we live in the greatest country in the world and we still have free speech. But it is amazing, though, the hard part about the internet is you get everybody's speech.
Mm-hmm.
And
we're front running in the internet from all the stuff we have, we put up to grow and build.
I look at it now as like, all right, do I really have time to look at this?
Yeah.
I think it's great to be able to kind of check the temperature, especially, and be able to find the comments you're looking for. Some of the stuff, they might drop some of the stuff that like, that might help you grow.
Absolutely.
But then the other stuff, a guy, you just post and goes.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It is. I remember Tyler Magnus talking to me about it one time. I think it was after like the second or third time I made the NFR, and he said, "You notice any changes?" Well, he asked me about the first year. It's like, no, I got lots of friends. Everything seems. Second, third time, it's a lot different this time, Tyler. What happened?
Yeah.
And he talks about. I think he was telling me a little bit is like, yeah, when you're the underdog, a lot of people root for you, but then when you almost get better than them, and then
they root against you.
Yeah, they root against you quick.
It's amazing. I wouldn't even call them friends now, but we've lost people in our life because of it.
Absolutely.
They've went, and we've gone different directions, and now you look back and you're like, oh, there was a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
People after a horse sale, people might text you and say, "Hey, how'd the sale go?" Oh, it went really good. And sometimes I think, is that the answer you wanted to hear? Did you want me to say, oh, it wasn't very good, or do it didn't go very, maybe we take a horse because there's sometimes we have a $20,000 horse, he may, at Level Land, for instance, one year we take a head horse, do the demo, works great, blah, blah, next morning has a big hind leg. And I'm like, what are we going to do? First thing I do, I go to Frisco and I say, hey, you were here yesterday. Y'all can do blood work on the horse. He does not have bute in him. We didn't bute him yesterday. He has a big leg. He's a little off. I said, what do you want to do? He said, call it. We'll sell him as is. He bring 17 or 18,000, and then people see that and say, oh, how
they've lost it.
Is the sale going down? What I saw, you sold that one. I said, yeah, we sold him basically crippled. We called it in the ring that he was crippled and sold him as is. And
he still brought,
still brought. And anyway.
I feel like that was a pretty good day.
Well, and I love the Western industry. It's the greatest industry. It's some of the greatest
100%.
people. But I think what's hard about it is, like I say, a lot of times guys are starving. A lot of guys, it gets to where it's hard being broke and seeing some success, and I get some of that. But also, too, there's a lot of pride, a lot of ego. And I've had that. Like I said, I'm speaking from experience on a lot of this stuff. I don't throw myself under the bus, I remember when I was, until I kind of learned how to win and started surrounding myself with the guys that win, it helped me a lot, kind of remold in the fact that I had to get that stuff out of me, like, oh, my horse better than that, or this and that. And then you start talking, and it's very humbling sport, obviously, as well, because, we all know competing and what that's like. But yeah, if a guy can it doesn't take long before you start seeing the jealousy and this and that. And it sucks when it's in your industry, but it's no matter what you're in.
Absolutely.
So it's not a perfect industry, but you start watching the guys that are successful and you watch, I mean, I talk about Trevor all the time, but the guy was amazing at what he did because he was the underdog. Then all of a sudden, then he was the best, and he continued to be the best, and then he's kept getting better at being the best. And then at the end, then he retired as the best, and then he went into another
and is
the
now
horse
the
show
best.
return. Now he's the best again, and so you watch how he doesn't even know if people are talking crap at him.
Yeah. Yep.
For one, he had hanging out in that circle, and he didn't look for it.
And it's something you've got to have the mindset of no matter, and I try to. No matter what we're doing, I know that there's always room for improvement. It doesn't matter if it's our video work or our horses or the way we put on social media. I want to get better at everything. And you've got to realize who's out there that can help us get better. And that's the people that we want to
And that's no different than the very first year we go to Rancho Rio. We leave Sarah McKibben, Moselle McKibben, sell one for $150,000.
Yep.
We couldn't get 25 for ours. We get home, first person I call, Sarah McKibben. I looked to the top. I said, "Hey, what?"
Yep.
And a shout out to her. She was an open book. She said, "This is what y'all need to do, and this is the number you need to call to do it." And that's
awesome.
Absolutely, and I respect that. And I've said it. I have never not told that side of it when people say, when did y'all start?" I said, Sarah McKibben. She helped us a bunch, and they were at the top. They still are. I mean, they still sell them for $200,000.
It's so cool when you're around the guys that are successful. It's not, they're open book. They're not trying to hide hoard or anything like that. It's Trevor was that way. There are a lot of guys out there that, man, when I'd ask something like to tell you and because a lot of guys didn't, at one point in time, like they had the edge and they didn't. And man, the respect that you have for the guys that did like truly try to help,
right?
Like those are great. I mean, it's something to live by because it's amazing how much you'll actually almost want to give back to that person. So when you see like guys that do that, and then you also see like, why does everything go good for that person?
Right.
Probably because he's a good dude, you know what I mean? Or he's a good girl, whatever it is. Like they do so much for everyone else, it's going to come back.
Well, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah, that's no lie. That is exactly right. So one of the things that we've had a chance to talk to in the last couple of days is, Archie Keeney talked to me a long time ago when I was a young kid and I was over there. We used to spend Christmases over there. Me and Ned Keeney were good buddies through college, and so I spent a lot of time there in Portales, and he'd haul me around and stuff like that, and talk philosophy and knowledge. And one of the things that really stuck as he was talking to me, he goes, "Charlie boy," he says, "I'd announced a lot of these USTRC ropings, and that makes a living. That's the stuff right there that pays the bills, keeps the roof over our head, keeps everybody fed." Yeah. He says, but these are the things he started showing me, like some of the rentals that he had. He started showing me some of the wheat pasture cattle he had, the places that he had leased. He goes, now that makes money. He goes, because at the end of the year, you got to be able to make a living, but making money is what
sets you up.
And so like for me, rodeoing, it was really like trying to say, okay, now, if I'm winning throughout the year rodeoing, that's probably going to pay my bills, get the truck payment, insurance, stuff like that. But okay, I'm going to need to make the NFR. I'm going to need to go to the BFI. I'm going to need to go to the George Strait. Like that's where you make your money.
Yep.
And so when I did, that's where I was able to add to assets and things like that. Well, you guys have a lot of similar business models as that. And you guys also have other things outside of what you guys do with the horse industry, which in my opinion makes you money.
Right.
But you have other things you also do that make a living.
Yeah. We don't like to keep all of our eggs in one basket either.
So what all do you do outside of just kicking their butt at jackpots and the horse sales?
So I'm an environmental consultant in the oil field, southeast New Mexico. I've got a great team of people that go and do survey work for me. We make sure that the well pads and the infrastructure that are going to be constructed in the future are clear environmentally, whether it's archaeology, caves, wildlife, or plants. And I've got survey crews for each of those. Once everything's clear, I submit a report to the Bureau of Land Management, and then they're able to go and build their well pads and drill, baby, drill. So
hopefully that guy will get in office.
Yeah, exactly.
And we will drill, baby, drill.
That's right. Oh, so that's what we do, and I've got quite a few guys that are working for me, and I get up real early in the mornings and take care of business there, and I try to stay pretty flexible where I can handle things that come up through the day and put out fires if needed, and
So yeah,
And then on your side, we're talking about the cattle trucks and some of the.
So Brooke has an oil field business, and I own 2 cow trucks. I don't. Thank God for her oil field business.
But you've also got some outside stuff with some other ranches and things that you do some day work, and then
we do.
The one truck you said does pretty good.
Yep, I have one truck that stays busy all the time, and have a really good guy that helps. And Casey Joe Lewis is who it is.
That's that truck driver.
Yeah,
healer.
he's the healer.
He's our Rancho Rio healer.
No, yeah, he's the
Rio Vista. Riata, excuse me.
Riata. Yeah, he's the Riata.
He's the Riata legend.
Yeah.
So anyway, been a good friend of mine for a long time. Anyway, he drives the truck, and he tends to all of it. I don't have to tend to any of it. And then but there's the LX Ranch, North Amarillo. I've helped them since I was 8 years old. They used to do it old school. They pulled the wagon out. I mean, I lived for it. I mean, I
want to do that.
I have a TP. I mean, they don't do it anymore. I mean, it's pretty modern now, but used to, you stayed out on the wagon for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And I absolutely loved it. I mean, that's kind of where it all came. Anytime they do any cowboy work, Ween, Bran, Brooke and I go. I mean,
Rodey was probably born 100 years ago.
I feel like I'm part of the family out there.
Well, it's you get back to what a man is. You know, you freaking we didn't always have nice houses. We didn't always have air conditioning. It's fun to see like back then where cowboys were freaking cowboys.
What can you do?
Men were tough.
I agree.
And to go back to that a little, it's freaking like I would love to. It really does sound so damn romantic to me that in the fact of like it would be great if I got on your phone all day and you're getting right with nature. It's good for the soul.
Mm-hmm.
It frustrates Brooke sometimes. I'll say, hey, Dave Anderson's a great friend of mine that he's managed that ranch for maybe close to 50 years. And anyway, him and I are great friends. And I'll say, hey, Dave's going to start working next week. And I mean, matter of fact, I don't know what the date is, but they're going to start the 13th of August and wean calves from the 13th to like the 25th. And it frustrates Brooke sometimes because she's like, hey, that's right during the level land. I said, I don't care. We're going to wean calves. When we get done weaning, we'll go to level land and we'll sell her horse. And, but that's why we keep so far in advance. I mean, it ain't like we're just now starting our level land horses. I mean, we knew a year ago what we're putting in level land in August. And so anyway, I love the cowboy side of it. I mean, if I could, I wish that I could go cowboy every day from daylight till 9 o'clock in the morning and then come home and rope, when it's still cool and you go rope and doctor. And
it's got to be so fun too, where some of the businesses that you guys have now to be successful where you're at, to be able to get to go do that.
Absolutely.
Instead of having to do it.
Just like when we went and stayed with Sage and Kelly, when you went up and did the school up there, I was in Sage and Kelly's wedding whenever they got married. Sage, when he went to school in Canyon, he helped me rope and doctor wheat cattle. We're great friends. We went up there the very best. We went up there and stayed for 12 days. And we took 14 head of horses up there. I mean, Sage knows that I love to feed alfalfa hay as much as they'll eat. So when we get there, he has alfalfa hay put out and there it is. And they've tried to pay us. I said, Sage, we don't come up here for the money. We come up here as long as you feed our horses good alfalfa and
just enjoy the time.
And you damn sure work. I mean, you work from daylight till dark every day.
How cool is it that we get to go be around people like Craig Haythorne?
Yep.
I mean, that's somebody that everybody looks up to, and we get to go.
I know it.
Go work with him.
And if anybody's read the book and get the history behind the Haythorne Ranch, like these guys are legends.
Yeah.
For sure.
How blessed are we that we get to do what we do in life?
Yeah. I would totally agree.
I mean, going kind of off subject, but we see J.R. Carter and Casey Lambert yesterday, and they asked about Rio. It's 2 of the greatest jockeys in the quarter horse industry.
Yeah.
And they're going to ask about Rio.
Yeah.
T. Woolman comes over yesterday and gives Rio the coolest little tiny dummy that I've ever seen.
Had it made for him.
For Rio.
Yeah.
How blessed are we to get to do what we do? And guys that Rio's going to get to look up to.
Yeah.
And get to spend time with you. I mean,
it was so much fun.
So thankful for
He's such a cute little guy, happy little guy.
Yeah.
God, he's always smiling. Yeah.
So
he was cute. As long as the guy keeps enough ranch around.
Should be all right.
Kept trying to wean him, or kept trying to promote last night we went and ate. They had it was a bowl, but it looked like a bucket of ranch. I'm like,
and he was all about it.
yeah, all about it.
Yep.
All about it. That's awesome. Well, so you guys have a really good social media also. Who does your social media? Do you handle that too?
I do it. Yeah, I do the
That's
social
very
media.
professionally
and
done.
It's
a great tool, isn't it?
It is. It's unbelievable. And going back to doing the videos when we're out actually doing stuff, Rodey's always probably into some sort of situation that needs to be filmed, and those situations turns into 1 million, 2 million views. So that's pretty cool. And I'm always trying to capture that moment, have a little bit of vision of what's going to kind of become viral. And
well, like you say, you see it on Yellowstone, but then it's another thing to see it for real.
It's a real, exactly.
We've done it so much that Brooke's been with me so much cowboying and ranching. Like she almost, I feel like, knows what I'm going to do before I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So we're at Haythorns and they have a set of corny cows. They raise, their own roping steers. And so anyway, we got the pens and they rope cows up there. When they sort the cows off the calves, when they're letting the irons warm up, you just get on your horse and you go rope cows for an hour if you want to. And it doesn't matter which one, just cut you one out. And there's a pretty good chance that Craig will be right there healing her whenever you turn her. Sage, Cord, they all just get on and rope cows. And so anyway, we get these cows pinned and there's a corny cow. She comes out and I'm on, I'm a horse and I kind of sneak up behind her just a little bit and I get me a jump on her and I threw like 3 culls at her. I mean, I did. I felt like I was Driggers. I mean, when the knot comes sliding through and I dally turn her, Sage heels her 2 feet and I look back there. We might have started Brandon. I said, "Hey, did you get it when I roped that?" And she said, "I got every bit of it." I mean, just knew, but
Perfect.
it was
kind of know. Yeah.
Yep.
She knows anytime that something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the next deal. And Brooke knows if we're there to get the job done, if we're over there trying to pin cattle and do stuff, we don't have our phones out videoing
or hand it to somebody.
Yep. Yeah. We get the job. If somebody calls us, we get the job done first. We're not there to go make videos. And I think that's why our videos do so good. It's because we're not there to stage it. I mean, we're there to, I may put her over there in the corner to keep cattle from going to that corner, but it helps me where I can get, where they don't go to that corner.
Better.
Yeah. Where I can go do my job better. And then she can film but it helps me. So anyway, it's pretty cool if she's been around long enough that knows that if what's going down.
So how do we follow you? What all is your social media handles? Also looking to buy a horse. I know you also have websites. How do we follow you? How do we get a hold of you? What's all the things you guys have out there on the internet?
So the best thing is to either get on Instagram or Facebook. That's what I keep the most active. Always checking it, making sure we're not missing anything. But you can get on there, see our horses, see a lot of the upcoming horses. It's Wilson Cattle. Pretty simple on Facebook and Instagram. Just look us
Wilson
up.
Cattle Company?
Yep.
Or just
Wilson Cattle. You can find us Wilson Cattle. And we do have a website. I'm not as good at keeping that up to date. It's wilsoncattle.com. But the best way is Facebook or Instagram or good old fashioned way. Give us a call. Yep.
You guys got your number up there?
Yep, our number's everywhere. You can go search us and find my number. Rodey's gotten a little better about answering his phone. He actually upgraded from a 1990s model.
I got it when Brooke
went from a flipper to an iPhone.
I had the second iPhone they'd ever made,
and he just retired 6 months ago or something. So, but before that,
those are even hard to find, like the chargers for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was the problem. It wouldn't stay charged.
When I had my hand issue, the doctor offered to buy Rodey's little phone.
No, he didn't offer. He offered to do the surgery for free.
Oh, I was out of it.
When I pulled out my phone, I mean, it was a little guy.
Yeah.
You could still snap your front pocket. And he said, "I'll do Brooke's surgery for free if you'll give me that phone." And I
wish you would have done it.
Well, we'd already paid for it. You had to, we paid the day before. And I said, "Can I do it maybe on the next? I hope there's not another one."
Yeah.
But,
rain check.
Yeah, we'll do it on the next one. But he wanted that phone so bad.
That's hilarious.
But anyway.
Yeah. So here we are. But yeah, definitely give us a call.
Well, I can't wait to meet back with you guys here in maybe in a year or two on the subject to see if you guys still have your phone number out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because me and Jackie have gotten to where No, don't hand
Don't
this.
do it.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
We don't hand it out, and if we do, like it's someone that we've been around, we feel like a
Yep.
truck, like
Right.
very
gotta
because
be
like
respectful.
we'll like please don't give this out
Yep. No,
because I tell you
understand.
what, after a guy gets enough irons in the fire, it's hard to answer that thing.
Oh, for
It
if
sure.
it's going off the hook, and then especially too if it's going off the hook for no reason.
Yep.
Hey, what you up to?
Oh.
I'm working.
Yeah.
Like, what do you need?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll
It's-
tell you this: if you're wanting to talk, and for sure somebody call Brooke's phone. If we're busy, I will not answer the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the job done first. Brooke can be in the middle of the gate, letting the wrong calf in the wrong, and I look up because she's on the phone.
Well, most of the time it's because I got a
No,
fire in the oil.
Here's another
field
quiet
that's
dinner.
going to- yeah,
No, it's
exactly.
I'm like, who was that? Oh, I was talking to. So I mean, that was
Gonna be a quiet dinner tonight.
Uh-huh.
Can that not wait? I mean,
I don't want to miss opportunity.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, man, I appreciate what you guys are doing. Thanks for letting me come hang at your house.
Yeah,
it was fun
thank you
roping
for
with
coming.
you. I loved
Absolutely.
watching you guys rope. I love seeing your guys' success. And
No, we look up to you. And
Absolutely. It's
you
been
and
a-
Jackie both. I mean, it's pretty cool what you guys do.
well, I appreciate that. And yeah, it's fun to be able to watch some of the stuff and stay in the race now of some of the horses you guys got going on. And I want to make it out there to Rancho Rio. I wanted to see I just
Yeah.
want to see the production of it.
It's so my family comes every year just to watch.
What time of year is that?
in March?
Yeah.
That's right.
It's
Like-
It's
third
always
week.
kind of hit or miss if it's during the American or not.
American, and then Houston, and
There's a lot going on right
There
now.
is a
but
lot.
if
Yeah.
you get a chance, y'all need to come hang out.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see. So, well, thank you guys. I know it's been busy. Sorry for coming in on one of the
Nope.
biggest weekends right around your house, but I appreciate it. And thanks
been
for
a
coming on the
blast.
podcast. Great I mean, it was a lot of knowledge. I
I'm glad we
appreciate you guys
didn't-
sharing it.
I'm
Yeah.
glad we didn't completely embarrass you yesterday. You rode over here with us and
Oh, it's fun.
and got to catch one in front of you and win a little money.
Oh, it was fun. I don't get to go to ropings much, and so it's fun to get to see some of my old buddies,
You
and
bet.
it's fun to get to see a lot of the guys that I've had at clinics
Yeah,
and
that is
lessons
really
and stuff
cool.
before. So it's fun to get there and go and see them in competition. So
Yeah,
I enjoy
it's
it.
cool.
I don't get a chance to do that much, but thank you guys for your hospitality and appreciate you guys.
No, thank
We
you.
look forward to next year.
That's right. Bye, everybody.